There are some movies out there that are really bad and hard to watch. Other times the movies turn out to be hits. In the end, there are roles that actors end up regretting in the long run. Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith on a project and hope it all turns out for the best. Here is a list we've compiled for you of actors who've regretted their roles. For those of you who love ad-free viewing and free things, we're excited to announce the Premium Network. The Premium gets you early access to videos from Screen Rant, CBR, The Gamer, and many other great channels. Literally thousands of videos in one place with ad-free browsing. How sweet is that? Sign up for free at The Premium by clicking the link to start binge-watching videos from your favorite channels.
Who would want that kind of exposure?
Click that subscribe button below and join our notification squad to watch similar content in the future. Can you guess which film these emojis are hinting at? Stay tuned to find out shortly following the video.
Who's he?
Robert Pattinson, Twilight. It's safe to say that there are a lot of people out there that are not a fan of the Twilight films or books. Robert Pattinson is definitely one of them. Pattinson truly despised his role as Edward Cullen in the Twilight film series. The more he read the script, the deeper his hatred grew for his character. That's how he decided to play the part, as a manic depressive who hates himself. These days, it's hard not to look at him and see him as the 108-year-old sparkly-skinned vampire who falls for Kristen Stewart. There are some things you just can't get out of your head. I'm sure he wishes everyone would forget he was even a part of the franchise. The first movie of the series was released in 2008 and made over $191 million worldwide. The franchise as a whole has made just about everyone who's touched it very rich. The films as a whole have earned over $2.5 billion at the global box office, and when you include DVD sales, merchandise, etc., you can probably double that number. Even though Pattinson may regret the role for the rest of his life, at least he's set up pretty well.
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
George Clooney, Batman and Robin. It's a good thing George Clooney is a great actor and was able to land other roles because his take on Batman in the 1997 Batman and Robin is atrocious and he knows it. What was going through his head when he signed up for the production? He's been labeled as the worst actor to portray Batman thus far. When filming was over, he said that, "I think we just killed the franchise." At the 2014 Comic-Con, Clooney apologized for ruining the Batman series for his role in the movie. He also joked that he will probably be disinvited to the event for 20 years. Probably not too far off base. Clooney has also been known to refund people who had to suffer through the film. In 2010, it was voted #1 in Empire magazine's 50 worst movies ever. The movie was budgeted at roughly $125 million, but only grossed a little over $107 million. Since Batman and Robin, Clooney has gone on to do some great things. He won Oscars for Argo as Best Picture of the Year and for Syriana as Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role. He has been nominated for 4 other Oscars as well.
And you do not know where they are because, and I quote you, you cannot remember. Your incompetence is staggering.
Halle Berry, Catwoman. Batman and Robin isn't the only superhero movie where the lead actor regrets their role. Halle Berry had similar thoughts when she dressed in all leather as Catwoman in the 2004 release of Catwoman. She was on top of the world in the early 2000s, but she almost lost it all when she starred in that movie. It almost ruined her career. At the Razzie Awards that year, Berry accepted her award by thanking Warner Brothers for casting her in the god-awful movie, to put it politely. Catwoman picked up a total of 4 Razzie wins for Worst Actress, Worst Picture, Worst Screenplay, and a Worst Director nod to the singular named Hitov. As you can imagine, the film completely flopped at the box office, only making $40 million when it was budgeted at $100 million. Luckily, the film didn't destroy Halle Berry's career, and we have still seen her in some movies. Her most notable being Cloud Atlas and the other superhero she plays on screen, Storm, in X-Men Days of Future Past. She is also set to appear in Kings and Kingsmen: The Golden Circle, both of which are now in post-production. Hopefully, we can all just put aside she was ever cast in the piece of garbage film back in 2004.
Jesus Christ. That's Jason Bourne.
Matt Damon, The Bourne Ultimatum. Over the years, Matt Damon has landed some pretty spectacular roles and always seems to please audiences on the big screen. However, when he portrayed the titular Jason Bourne in the Bourne Ultimatum, he couldn't stand being in the film. In the pages of GQ magazine, he accused Tony Gilroy of writing an unreadable script, calling it a career ender. He then walked away, leaving director Paul Greengrass to fight through chaos. Damon, however, would eventually apologize to Gilroy. Damon explained it was really the studio's fault for giving Gilroy a hefty writer's fee to write only one, apparently rough, draft of the script. Damon was caught off guard in Vancouver when he was on set for his next film, Elysium, directed by Neil Blomkamp. He saw himself next to the just-opened offices for The Bourne Legacy, the fourth movie of the franchise, which was written and directed by Gilroy but had no role for Damon. Bourne Ultimatum grossed $443 million worldwide, and Universal naturally wanted another movie. Unfortunately, Greengrass failed to come up with a script in the time allotted. He may not have gotten the part for The Bourne Legacy, but came back in 2016 to play the character once again in Jason Bourne. This time, Paul Greengrass wrote and directed the film, so there was no issue between Gilroy and Damon. Shia Labeouf, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Shia Labeouf has come a long way since playing Louis Stevens in the Disney comedy show Even Stevens. He was, however, not impressed with his part in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. He told the Los Angeles Times back in 2010 that he dropped the ball with his role as Mutt Williams while also criticizing the film's script and director Steven Spielberg. He was quoted as saying, "It's the actor's job to make it come alive and make it work, and I couldn't do it." It was by far the most disappointing in the franchise, which no one probably thought was possible after Temple of Doom. Hey, I like that movie. It may have been a little different with children seeing the movie and excited for another adventure with Dr. Jones. For older audiences that are nostalgic of the original, it was probably very disappointing. Almost 20 years had passed between the making of The Last Crusade and The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, so hopes were high. Unfortunately, there are no more Indiana Jones movies on the horizon, even though most of us wish there were. Maybe we can all just pretend The Last Crusade really was the last movie. What are your thoughts on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Stay out of Hell's Kitchen.
Ben Affleck, Daredevil. Ben Affleck was almost ruined by his 2003 superhero movie Daredevil, in which he starred. The man who fights for justice in the courtroom by day and then on the streets of New York City by night was a huge disappointment. It was a critical disaster and his only regret in film. He's not been shy about bashing it, calling it a huge mistake and poorly made. He is quoted saying that he loves the story and character, but the fact that it got so messed up the way it did has really stayed with him. Affleck may wish he was really blind like Daredevil himself, so he never had to see the final product on the big screen. He was also in the running to play Bullseye, which may or may not have been a better choice. The film was budgeted at an estimated $78 million and only made a little over $431,000. That's right, $1,000. A massive flop in the box office. Now, not one of the biggest of all time, but it's still up there. Although he was cast alongside Jennifer Garner, Colin Farrell, and Michael Clarke Duncan, who are pretty well-known actors, the movie just couldn't come together in a pleasing way.
I don't know.
Mark Wahlberg, The Happening. When Mark Wahlberg was cast as Elliot Moore for M. Night Shyamalan's 2008 release of The Happening, he didn't know what he was getting himself into. He performed alongside Zooey Deschanel and John Leguizamo, who are two notable actors, but Wahlberg later came out saying he hated the movie. The movie's about a science teacher, Moore, and his wife and young girl who struggle to survive when Earth's flora start to turn against man's inhumanity towards vegetation. At first, terrorists are expected, but before long, it's obvious the culprits are trees. What a twist. A very interesting plot line in a movie that received very terrible reviews. What's worse than the plot is the acting. It's no wonder that Wahlberg hated this movie. The film was a follow-up to Shyamalan's mega flop, Lady in the Water, and he failed again to create something people enjoyed. It was interesting to see Wahlberg take a break from action movies to play a preposterous science teacher who's truly, deeply worried about the disappearance of bees. Now, Wahlberg was quoted saying he wanted to try a different role because he wasn't playing a crook or a cop. In this case, the decision was a bad choice, and he knows it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a member of the Imperial Senate on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away!
Carrie Fisher, Star Wars. Carrie Fisher was an insecure 19-year-old when she appeared as Princess Leia in the first Star Wars movie, a role that would later define her career. Did you know that she despised the role? She has said that George Lucas ruined her life with his ridiculous costuming. When asked whether she would have taken the role had she known the film would be so big, she said, "I never would have done it. All I did when I was really famous was wait for it to end." Wow, big words coming from the actress who portrayed one of the most iconic characters in the franchise. Now, while most every male on Earth was going gaga for Fisher when she donned the metal bikini in Return of the Jedi, the actress completely hated it. She thought that George was kidding when he first pulled it out to show her, and it made her very nervous. Not to mention the fact that there couldn't be any creases on her sides, so she had to sit very rigid next to Jabba. Apparently, the only redeeming quality of wearing it was that she got to take her frustration out on the ugly slug. Even though she may have hated the role when she was younger, she will be a beloved character forever. Jessica Alba, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Some of you may have wished Jessica Alba quit acting before she appeared in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, because that is almost what happened. The movie wanted to make her quit acting for good. If you didn't know, she has been in movies such as Sin City, Machete. She had nothing nice to say about the process of working for director Tim Story. He told Alba, "It looks too real, too painful. Can you be prettier when you cry? Cry pretty, Jessica." He told her to just make it flat and they could CGI tears in. She then started questioning herself and then just said, "Screw it, I don't care about this business anymore." There's no denying that Alba has been in some bad movies and they were either poorly written, directed, or both. There's also no denying that she chose to be in those movies. She presumably read the scripts and still said yes to them. One does gamble on the hope that the project will be worthwhile, but she could have carefully considered her roles even more before signing on. Alba never lived up to the promise she shows in Dark Angel, and maybe where she ended up is how far pretty will take you.
All right, I need a ride. Madam, I'm a cat in trouble. I'm hitching a ride in your moo-moo.
Bill Murray, Garfield the movie. Too many, it's no surprise that Bill Murray hated when he voiced the title character in the 2004 live-action version of Garfield. It was adapted from a comic strip about the title character, Garfield, John, his owner, and John's dog, Odie. At the time, it was a mystery as to why Murray chose the part just a year after his Lost in Translation Golden Globe win and Oscar nomination. Thanks to a Reddit chat, we have the answer. You see, there are two directors in Hollywood with the same name except for one letter. There is Joel Cohen of the Coen brothers, who has written and directed many critically acclaimed films such as Fargo, Burn After Reading, and Inside Llewyn Davis. Then there is Joel Cohen, spelled with an H, who wrote Cheaper by the Dozen, Daddy Day Camp, Monster Mash the movie, and of course, Garfield the movie. Murray confusedly thought the Garfield script was written by the former and signed on to voice the famous cat in the movie series. He didn't bother to read the entire script, and the rest is, well, history. While Garfield the movie made over $200 million worldwide, the 2006 sequel went straight to DVD. Well, what'd you think of this list that we compiled for you? Did you know these actors regretted their roles in these movies? Are there any actors that you would have added? Before we forget, the answer to the emoji question is... Well, did you get it right? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, check out our playlist, and as always, thanks a whole lot for watching.